There is a pattern in Scripture that once you see it, you start to recognize it everywhere. And this pattern begins in heaven. It shows up in Eden, and then it's still shaping how people think today. Now, in the book of Job, Satan makes a very calculated accusation about God. And I wrote, "Does Job fear God for nothing? Stretch out your hand, and he will surely curse you to your face." Now that sounds like a challenge, doesn't it, against Job? But it's not. It is an attack on God's character. Satan is basically saying, no one actually loves you, God. They only serve you because you reward them. Now, in other words, God runs his kingdom on incentives and threats. And that's Satan's accusation. You remove those benefits and loyalty collapses. Now take that idea and go back to Eden. Genesis 3:4-5 says, "You will not surely die, for God knows." Do you see the pattern in what Satan said? Same strategy. In heaven, God is manipulating you, and in Eden, Satan says God is holding out on you. Different words, same distortion. So Satan reframes God's character everywhere, because if he can break trust between his creatures, God's creatures, and God, everything else follows. Now here is where it becomes very real for us today. The same thinking shows up in subtle ways. Sometimes it sounds like this: if God really loved me, why would he allow these things to happen to me? Maybe God is punishing me, and maybe I need to perform better so God will bless me. Or maybe I've gone too far this time and now God is against me. Now those thoughts feel personal, but they are not new. They are the echoes of the same strategy used by the adversary. Distort God's character, so trust weakens, and then the relationship begins to fracture between us and God. And once that happens, fear quietly replaces love. Now let's come back to Job. Everything is stripped away. Job's basically been inflicted with pain and suffering, and yet he says, "Blessed be the name of the Lord." Now why would Job say that? Because even in confusion, Job refuses to accept the lie that God is untrustworthy.